I'd rather have you set it to the red line than tight, because at least I know we're not going to get crowded here and all of a sudden give the blocker the advantage, right? This is kind of where you want the ball. Because remember, your hitter has to be able to be dynamic and swing. She has to be able to see the block, see her angles, and hit her angles. So if I'm coming in tight, all of a sudden now I can't do shit. I'm screwed. I got to bail out. I got to hopefully get a tip off hands out or something like that. Here, I have options. I can go bang, bang, bang. I can go off hands. I can do so much more. Okay, in this game, listen, if the ball is set off the net, the hitter always has the advantage. If the ball is set tight to the net, the blockers have the advantage. And we don't want that. You saw the ball coming. You saw it coming, right? And then you saw it cross the plane of the net. And then you're like, okay, now it's close to me. Now I can establish a platform because I feel comfortable doing that. And then you end up being late, right? And all of you do it, and it's okay. But you gotta trust that your platform is going to do its job. If you don't try it, it's never going to work. So what I want you to do is, when she contacts the ball and you've seen that it's coming towards you, now I want you to establish a platform. So when it crosses the plane of the net, you're already here. How fast is it to do this? Versus when it comes, now you establish, oh, now I have to do this. It's at the wall. And it's not. I know. Maybe you haven't done it before, but I'm telling you, this is what's going to give you a good pass. You can't be afraid to make the read and make a mistake. If you make the read and you went for it, that's great. If you make the read and you went for it and you were wrong, that's okay. What I don't want is for you not to make the read and then not move, because then you have a problem. So like, for example, when she tipped on the left side, like, you remember how I asked you, did you know she was going to tip? And you said you didn't know what she was doing. All right, so we have to make a decision, and you got to focus on the attacker and the block. All right, the block was sealed. So once you see a sealed block, you focus on the attacker. Right? And she's going to tell you what she does. If she has her hand, right, she comes up like this, and you see her shoulder drop, her elbow comes here, she's going to tip the ball. As soon as you see that hand come out, you have to move up. And if for whatever reason she does something else, that's okay. The fact is you made that read, and that's how we play defense. Defense is all about reading. That you have to keep your eye on the ball, right? Because your objective is to hit that ball. Now, you also have to see the block. So as a left side, when I'm coming in and I see the ball, I'm still focused on that ball, but in my eyes, I can see the hitters. Put your hands up for me. I can see that there's 4 hands up there, and then I can see, well, wait a minute, I have a line shot, or I don't have a line shot. I have a sealed block, or I have a sharp cross court. So now is where we try to use the hands. So come in fast, just like you would. And you're going to come in high, put hands up, and you're going to go bang right off the hands. And your trajectory of the ball, depending on how you jump. If you don't jump high, it's going to be that way. If you jump high and you can get right on top of the ball and see the blocker's hands, you swing right for their hands. Aim right at it. Now, here's the thing, though. Put your hands back up again. Sorry. See how Ruby's hands are sealed? So if you're under the ball and you try to hit her hands, go from this angle, where's it going? It's going down. So you have to make sure you're away from her hands. You're not under her hands, because if you're away from her hands, now you have the advantage, and you can swing high off those. So that's a sealed block. The person that's in 6 is responsible for playing off the hands. Okay, because if it's a sealed block and they're both jumping, then you don't need to play anywhere near here, because this is what they're supposed to do. That's their job. So you're going to end up moving it back further. You're going to be back here, playing off the high roll, off the hand, anything deep. That's your job. So we have to make that read, okay? Your job out of 5 here is to make sure that you stay and play the high hands as well, or the deep shot in case they tip deep, okay? If they roll over the block, you have to make that read, and that's where you see the hitter's hands and all that stuff, okay? And your job as a backcourt right side defender is to play to the right of her hands. So put your hands back up. So see the right of her hands? You want to establish right outside the right of her hand. So because the block will dictate where you play defense on the court. Okay, so now let's say it's a right side attack. So these 2 ladies are now going to have a sealed block, meaning they're really close together. There's not a lot of space, okay? And it's a sealed block. So on a sealed block, we have to be set up accordingly. Now, every single block takes away something. So right now, if they're swinging out of the right side and these 2 ladies have a completely sealed block, we have to not play defense in the blocker zone. So the blockers go up. So come a little bit more over. So take away that right side, your middle. So they have a sealed block. So we want to make sure that we play around that sealed block. So right now, look at their shoulders. this right shoulder and this left shoulder, this is creating a zone. And we don't want to play in that zone. So this is like blocker's ball. These are all the balls that the blockers are responsible for blocking if they're doing their job. I was talking to one athlete about the three-step approach, which some of you end up doing, like this, 1, 2, 3. You're still doing your approach. I'm not saying don't do your approach. I'm saying do your approach at the end. So if your first two steps are fast, right? You go 1, 2, really fast, and then you can go your left, right, left. As long as your left, right, left is even faster. Do you understand what I'm saying? So your whole approach right now, or I don't know how many of you do this, but you go your like 1, 2, 3, right? I'm not saying to stop doing that. I'm saying to speed that up. Listen, when you dig a ball, especially the line shots, it's not often that you're going to dig it with a good platform. It actually isn't. Like realistically, as long as your right foot is in line, your hips are back, and your hands are out here, this is how you're going to dig a ball. The distance between the attacker and the defender is so short. It's not a left side ball where you're going cross court. You have so much time to react to the ball. This is quick. So we're here, and if they swing line, chances are you're not going to get a platform like this. It's not going to happen. I mean, it can, but as long as we're low into the ground, that if the ball hits our palm, hits our forearm, hits our bicep, any of this area here, as long as we're up, that's all that matters. That's what you want, right? You watch international play all the time where, on the men's side especially, where guys are coming at, 60 miles an hour, bang, they're here. This is all they get. They don't get a chance to do this. They get a chance to angle like this and pop up. You don't move until you've made the read, okay? And what the read is that when the setter sets the ball, you then have to look at two things. You look at the tempo of the set and location of the set, okay? So you look at the set itself, where the ball is going. Is it a high ball? Is it a short ball? Is it a fast ball? Whatever the case is. So you make that read. So now you've identified where the ball is going. So let's say that the ball is going left side. We've made the left side read, okay? Now, we have to look at the hitter. So we look at the angle of approach the hitter's coming in on first. So if we know that the set, for example, was inside. So let's say the set was inside the court. Now we focus on our hitter. And the hitter is going to tell you exactly what he or she is going to do. So if the hitter is coming in on a really sharp angle, is it likely that he's going to go line? No. So that means you would move in to play that shot. You would stay there and you would stay there. Pipe, same thing. If it's a pipe ball, you're creating a box here, you're creating a box here, right? And then you're a lib, so you're just going to be anything around the middle of the court, right? Because the problem with pipe is that you can't crash so fast because you got to wait till she approaches. So you're kind of just here waiting for her to approach. After she makes her swing, you're then getting any ball that's bounced off here. All right. If it goes deep, that's the ball we give up on a pipe shot. Because generally speaking, a pipe ball doesn't have three blockers if it's in system and if it's fast. So the chances of it going deep aren't that high. It'll be low here. Yeah. When the offensive player tries to recycle, it's their job to get the ball back. Because they know where they're positioning the ball, how they're hitting it off the block, and they can make a play out of it. All right. If you're in system, like covering is really tough. Right? Like the minute that she is going in for a 51, she's jumping, tempo ball is set. By the time she comes down and goes, it's not happening. Right? A lot of coverage happens, especially in out-of-system balls. Out-of-system balls is huge for that. Ball goes high, then we have all the time in the world to come in and make sure that we cover. All right? And then that way, even the hitter has a choice. Well, I got my team covering me. I can then recycle. I can then go high off hands, which is what you should do anyways, and so forth. The way I teach defense, or the way I teach covering, is boxing in your hitter. So let's say, for example, that it goes to the left side, right? The highest probability shot in the game, left side ball. So if a left side is about to make the attack, come over here, going to make the attack. Middle is going to come in, and libero is going to come in to make a box around our left side. Okay, so you see how you're kind of making a box? You're boxing her into the corner, and then you're now looking at the blocker's hands. So you're here, right under her, looking at the blocker's hands. You're looking at the blocker's hands. And that's where we need our coverage. If it goes deep for whatever reason, we have you over there with that deep shot, and if it goes cross court, if it goes deep, you have you over here that's diving everywhere to get that ball. Okay, ideally we don't want the setter getting the first ball anyways, so you're over there in the corner. So if that ricochets ball deep, that's you. If it doesn't, you're right there to box in your hitter. Okay, so that's the way I teach covering. Really simple. I don't want to complicate anything. If you recognize that she set the ball and it's going to the left side attack, you already recognize that, right? Yeah. You don't think she's going to go to where the ball is? So you have to find her. the ball becomes irrelevant at that point.
Okay.
So we've identified that the ball is now coming across and Lana is going to hit the ball. So my eyes are like this. So she sets, I see the ball, now I go to this hitter. Because now if she goes here, she's not going to go here if the ball's going over there. Yeah. She's going to go where the ball goes. So Lana, go over there. So we've made the read. We've looked at the ball. We know it's going that way. My head focused on the hitter. Now I can come into where she is. I don't care about the ball anymore. I care about her shoulder. So now I'm lining up with her shoulder. The ball will take care of itself. Question. When is the right time to call the ball as a passer? Yeah? Before the ball crosses the plane of the net. But where on that side before it crosses the plane of the net should we call it? You should call it before it crosses the attack line. So Dave Preston and Mac actually came up with this. So the attack line on the opposing side of the court, before it crosses that attack line, someone should call the ball, because as soon as it comes over the net or anywhere close to the net, our timing just drops significantly. So we got to call it way ahead of time. Does that make sense? All right, so that's the goal. For me personally, as long as you call it before it crosses the plane of the net, I think that's enough time in our game, okay? So if a ball's coming right at you, now depending on what side you're on, let's say we're on this side of the court, and the ball's coming right at me, what you want to do is you want to open up to your target and create a platform. So let's say the ball's coming right at me, and I don't want to do this. So what I do is I open up, take a step back, and now I'm open to my setter, and I create a platform here, because my platform is going to be angled. We don't want to have a situation where we're backpedaling. I saw a lot of that, right? You end up backpedaling and you're catching it up here. Worst thing you could do, especially when good servers come at you. So if a server's coming at you, ideally you want to angle, and you use your hips, right? You can bend your hips a lot of ways. Here, angle with your hips and create the platform, but if you don't have time, no problem, okay? You can open up this way, create the angle, or if it's on this side, you can open up this way and create the angle. It's all about creating the angle. You get that? You get how, I'm going to keep saying it, but you get how important angle is? The reason we want to avoid this is because this is not an optimal position to pass from. Do you see how weird this is? If that ball changes direction, I can't move efficiently. I can't create an angle. But all of a sudden, we do this. Now I can create an angle. So if you are, now again, if you're late and you have to run, and you're in one of those positions, that's fine. But if you can get to the ball, stop, and then hold and get the platform around that. Does that make sense? So we want to avoid, this kind of motion. Opening to my setter. So my chest is facing the setter. My hip is back. Okay. So I'm here. I'm going in. My last two. My hip is back. My chest is facing my setter. Now what we do with our hands. So my hands go up, and my hands are really wide. They're not tight. They're nice and wide. My left hand is at its highest point. My right hand is brought back, so my elbow is back, and my hand is relaxed. It's not stiff. It's very relaxed. Okay, so let's just recap that. So here, okay, hip back, chest open, left hand is high, right hand is back, elbow, hand relaxed. Now, what's supposed to happen is your elbow and hand should be exchanging places. So my elbow drives up, and then my hand extends and completes. So as soon as the setter sets the ball and you've identified that the ball is going to the left side, for example, your eyes switch right to the left side. We don't want to see, as coaches, we don't want to see the setter set and you do this. Because what happens if you're doing this? You're going to be super late to the ball. By the time you do your footwork and you be looking up, you have no idea what's happening. The ball actually becomes irrelevant. Once you've identified where the ball is going, we don't care about the ball anymore. We only care about the hitter, because the hitter is going to tell you exactly what's happening. Because once you've realized the ball was set, if you see the hitter coming inside, you know it was a short set. If you see the hitter coming further outside, you know the set was good. So the ball, don't worry about it. Once you know where it's going, we focus on the hitter. So eyes. Defense is all about desire. Like, it's one of those things where I kind of talked about it when I talked about blocking. When you block, you have to have an aggressive mentality. You have to attack the ball. Well, defense is similar in a sense where you got to make sure that you're mentally focused and you have a desire to get that ball up. Now, that may sound kind of silly, like you're playing defense, of course you want to get it, but you have to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, am I willing to let the ball hit the floor? Is that a choice that I'm willing to allow to happen? And if it's not, you'll get more digs by default. just because of that really desired mentality to play defense. And if you can have that mentality and switch that gear where you're like, this ball is not touching the floor. No matter what happens, unless it's going out, it is not touching the floor. And you have that passion to play defense, you'll be an amazing defender. You're here, right? And a ball is hard driven. Sometimes it goes to this side of your body. Sometimes it goes to this side of your body. And you just don't have enough time to get your platform out. It's really hard, right? And you know it's going to go in, right? Especially on a sharp angle shot here where it's going to go deep corner. You know it's going to go in. So there's a lot of times in this game where you have to dig a ball with one hand. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we have to make sure we can dig a ball with one hand effectively. So when we've already made the read, so the ball is set to the left side, we see a seam or whatever the case is, so we're moving up to play defense. Our base is wide before contact is made. Okay, so we're here, we're stopped and stable. Now, the key thing to making sure that you can move and react fast enough is that your hands have to be up. So your palms are up like this, not to your sides or up like this, because in the event that they swing and you can't get your platform behind the ball, which happens a lot in our game, especially with the speed of the attacker, we want to make sure that we can get a hand on it. And if our hand and our palm is up, we can deflect it up and maybe play and run an offense out of it. Let's say that the setter, unfortunately, gave you a ball that is not hittable. So it's a tight ball. It may be tight inside. It may be tight outside. So now who has the advantage, the blocker or the hitter? The blockers have the advantage because it's a tight ball. Well, we still have to be able to fix that. So we can do two things. What you can do is you can roll off their hands a 40 to 50% swing. So you can swing 40 to 50%. It rolls off their hands. It'll either go over the net, or what we'll try to do is it'll come back on our side of the court, and then we can pop it back and play defense. That's called a what? That's called a recycle. So we're recycling the ball. Or you want to be efficient and score. If it's a tight ball and it's fading away from the blocker, so let's say the set's coming, it's tight to the net, but it's pursuing outside the court, we swipe. Okay, so we go up, press off the hands, and swipe out. Okay, now we're not like just taking the ball and doing this. We're actually pushing the ball into the blocker's hands and swiping out. In a one-on-one, the worst thing you can do is try to come in, turn, you see a seam, and then rotate over and try to swing line if they're taking line away. How many times have I seen that? How many times have you seen that? It happens a lot in your game. All right? We don't want to do that. If we have a one-on-one, that's 9 out of 10 times we got to score. So your defense is telling you got one, you're like, fantastic. I see one blocker. She can't cover the entire court. So as long as you see where she is, and when the set's made, you can see where she is. Now we can choose. If she's going there, bang, I have line. If she's coming over, bang, I have cross court. And you score. Okay?